Hello Blue Baggers, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another episode. Had a long-time supporter of the podcast, Kano Watt, send me a request for my best 22. So I thought I'd give it a crack. Obviously it's way too early to really know who's going to be in that starting side come round one. I have a pretty good idea as to the locks in the side, but I thought I'd give it a go. So here it is. Okay, starting in the back line. And I feel like this will change before round one, once, twice, maybe three times. But I've gone with Tom Williamson, Liam Jones, Nick Newman, Simo, Wiedering, and Marchbank. Now, Williamson really impressed me over the off-season. I went and watched the training session, as I said in the last episode, and I just liked what I saw from him. All reports on him in the past have been about his competitiveness and his attitude and his application. He's got that hunger, and I still remember him playing. Seems like an eternity ago, but in 2017. So I just feel like he's going to grab that spot, and I feel like if I was selecting the side, I'd be looking at him to cement himself in the side. So I've gone with Williamson. Now Newman is the other one that could be a bit controversial, could be a bit of a mix-up. Is he going to play forward? Is he going to play back? I think he'll start round one as a defender, personally, and then we'll see what happens throughout the season, throughout each game. We have quite a few players, just looking at the list now, in terms of the best 22, who are pretty versatile. So whether or not that factors into our game style and how we change things up in terms of our game management, I don't know, but I'm going to put him in the back pocket for now and see how we go. Wiedering, Marchbank, two guys for me that are really going to step up and showing the faith there in Wiedering after he's still young and we're very impatient as Carlton supporters. Obviously a number one draft pick, hampered by injury at times, and last season he fell into a bit of a hole with his form. And that's okay, as most young players do. But entering this season now, it's he really needs to show just something. He needs to have a nice purple patch to show the supporters the improvement in him. He looks great at training. He's got a really big frame on him. He's got these big, thick tree trunk legs. But he's going to have to really perform well. And I can see him playing on Jack Riewoldt round one. That's if Jack plays. I think he might be injured, Jack Riewoldt, at the moment, and there's a bit of confusion as to whether or not he's going to actually play. So Wiedering gets the nod. Looking forward to seeing Marchbank just being fit and healthy and playing at his best. So that's the back line. Obviously, as you can see, Plowman is in on the interchange bench there as well. So he'll obviously cover that defensive post whenever he comes onto the field. In the midfield, Cruiser, Cripps, Murphy. Goes without saying, they're probably our two best midfielders and obviously our first choice ruckman. So I don't think I have to talk too much about them there. Then you've got Ed Kerno, Zach Fisher, and Paddy Dow. It's good to say those names now, knowing Fisher's got a few years under his belt. Paddy Dow's had a year under his belt. We're going to become a lot more comfortable saying those names in our team, for years to come. So. I'm not going to talk about expectations or anything just yet, but it's good to see, they've now solidified their spots in the side, and they're ready to become, fully fledged, genuine, bona fide footballers. So we need, probably Fisher as the one for me, as I said in the previous video, even though it was a Supercoach based video. Zach Fisher's got that potential to really break out for me. I like the way he goes about his game. I like that he's technical. I like that he runs hard. He plays a contested type game considering his smaller frame. So those are my midfielders. Forward line, exciting. And this was a tough one, and I'll explain in a moment. Samo, Charlie Curnow, Mitch McGovern. For Solo, McKay, and Lang. I'll start with just reading out Mitch McGovern's name. Now obviously he had a bit of a fall. Or a lot of a fall actually, at training. He took a big screamer at that last training session in 2018, and I remember the crowd reaction at the time. Everyone sort of was a bit of a gasp, and it was like, well, what's he doing? He's going a little bit too hard at training considering it's still the off season. and it turns out that he had a non-displaced fracture in his back. Now, for me, that's an absolute alarm bell, and it seems to me at this point like the club might be just sort of managing the concern. Hopefully it is as little as what they've reported it to be, but anytime you hear or read the words fracture and back, it's a flag. It's a really big red flag. So we'll definitely keep an eye on this one as to whether Mitch McGovern will actually play in round one or what the extent of the injury is. But fingers crossed, it's not a disastrous start to his Carlton career. So that's what I want to be seeing round one. Samo, Charlie, and Mitch McGovern in that half forward line. I think it's a good mix of talent and speed and athleticism, and I'm really, really excited to see that happen. Now, Darcy Lang is the very interesting one because I spoke a lot throughout the year last year about my frustration with him at times. Obviously he didn't have a pre-season last year, and that does hamper players, especially in this league, in such a cutthroat league. And obviously because we're losing games by so much, and I did question, and I was mindful of his attitude and approach to the game in certain games, particularly that last game that we played. I thought, I know it was the last round, we had nothing to play for, and most guys don't want to be there, but it just, for me, I could just, reading into his body language, maybe I was a little bit too sensitive to it, but yeah, I was worried about him, but I am willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Combine that with the fact that, our small forward stocks are pretty low. Jared Pickett's done a really serious, knee injury, so he's going to be missing round one, I would have thought, definitely. You got Jared Garlett on the list as well. He didn't really grab his position with two hands last year, so I would put Lang ahead of Jared Garlett at this stage. I was mindful of the lack of, speed, if you will, and sort of it's not really dynamic in terms of that small forward position. Obviously, Fasolo's there, and he kicks goals when healthy and whatnot. So with Lang, it's going to be a bit of a watch this space. That could be a position that changes up. As you can see there, O'Brien's not in the side. So does Lockie O'Brien get a go there? Does Liam Stocker get put there? So we'll see. But at the moment, that's where I've got Lang. And as you can see, the rest of the interchange bench, I mentioned Plowman before, but you've got Daisy Thomas, Sam Walsh, the best midfielder in the draft, mate, and Will Setterfield. And as you can see, the emergencies, we got Kennedy, Cunningham, who's the forgotten man in a sense, Lockie O'Brien and Liam Stocker. Now Kennedy, it's a tough one because I feel like we obviously brought in Kennedy last year. He was sort of earmarked to be that help to Paddy Cripps, and he for his own reasons he just couldn't get on top of his body at times. He played hurt, played maybe when he shouldn't have. I love his application to the game. But now I've got Will Setterfield in there, and I don't know how we would go with the two of them in there because I don't see a lot of speed with the two of them. It's one of those situations that could change. At the moment, this is what I feel like it's going to look like. But yeah, if I had to pick between Setterfield and Kennedy when they're both fully fit, I would go with Setterfield. He's obviously rated highly, but I don't picture Kennedy being on that emergency list for too long if he was to start on that list in round one. So yeah, now obviously Dave Cunningham, he's a good player. He is a good player. He just hasn't had the opportunity to really showcase it, and he seems to again be another one that hasn't been able to get on top of his body and always seems to have something wrong with it, particularly soft tissue, which is a bit concerning at his age. But I'm hoping that he will be able to really push his way into the side. Lockie O'Brien, pretty stiff here. Honestly, he didn't have a bad year last year, and his running power is something that we're definitely going to need. But again, looking at the side, I don't know where I replace him unless you wanted to go with O'Brien in for Lang. So that's that. And Stocker, I think, I don't think he'll start round one, but I think he will work his way into the side. So it's good to have depth problems at this point. I know Doherty's out, and that sucks. But we've got guys. If you think about looking at it 12 months ago, Levi Casbolt was the starting starting forward. He was in that team last year, and now he's not even on the emergency list. So we're looking at that. Looking at guys like Cam Paulson. He's got a lot to go for me to really push into the side, but he's now not someone that has to come into this team round one. Harrison McCready is another one that's a bit of a forgotten man. He showed some really good glimpses in 2017 and very much like Tom Williamson had a very injury-interrupted 2018. Guys, I did mention Jared Garlett earlier. Where does he fit into the fold? Can he get his place back into the side? He's got the talent there. Maybe having that year away from footy that he had before he came to the club hurt him last year, and maybe it was a learning experience for him. And now he's got that second year. He's going to come into that Carlton fold. Will that help him? I don't know. I hope so. I'm more hopeful than what I am certain. And then there's also guys like Jack Silvani who's sort of on the outer now. I wouldn't have Jack Silvani in this side in particular over anyone else. So they are good problems to have. We probably need we are deep now, but it's still not very deep. We probably got one more layer to go, and then that's it. We're in crisis mode. So that's my best 22 for now. Let me know what you think. I feel like that forward spot, that Lang spot, is going to be something that we have to work with before round one, because there's no real small forward, live wire forward in there at the moment. Now Lang did come in and hit the scoreboard early on in his first few games with the Blues. Now what does that mean for this year? I don't know. I don't necessarily think he's going to be a goal sneak, but he does give us versatility in his ability to actually push up the ground, have spurts in the midfield. So we'll see. And again, with Fasolo, he's got to be fit and healthy. He seems like he's fit and healthy. From all reports, it seems like he's training well. He looked fine at training when I saw him. So, yeah, that's my side. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you're listening, send me a message. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. And go the Mighty Blue Boys.